Hello and welcome to class number 56 of the UPSC Mains Answer Writing Initiative, where we are trying to simplify UPSC Mains Answer Writing for all of you. Thank you so much for being continuous here and attending all these classes. In case you missed on any of the earlier classes, you can watch that by clicking on the link of the playlist in the description of this video. If you are new here, please do hit the subscribe button. Every single day, we take up a previous year question that the UPSC has asked. A lot of you had been asking me why not take ethics question as well. So in yesterday's class, I took an ethics question as well, and we'll do that later on going ahead as well. We'll take up questions from GS1 up till GS number 4. Also, to help you further in your answer writing journey, I've started a mastering UPSC Mains answer writing program. That is a one-on-one mentorship program where I'm helping you, guiding you to help write answers to all sorts of UPSC questions. This is a program with gradual increase in the level of questions. Every single week I'll give you a target, I'll give a test based on that, and the level of question will increase every single week. We'll have a weekly chat to discuss your progress. The evaluation of the answers will be done by me only. In case you have any questions, feel free to contact on this number or on the given email ID. Now, one more thing, as I always do in every single class, if you are new here, if this is your first ever class and you have no clue when to begin and how to begin, I highly suggest you to go and see the first class of this series. Again, the link of the playlist in the description of the video. Go ahead and click on class number 1. Over there you will see we have discussed structure of an answer. How and what to write in the intro, in the main body, in the conclusion. Go and see that. It will be extremely helpful for all of you so that you can now begin your journey of answer writing. On that note, let's begin. What is the question that we are taking up today? We have taken up a question from 2022 GS1. It's a history based question. The political and administrative reorganization of states and territories has been a continuous ongoing process since the mid 19th century. Discuss with examples. So basically what they are saying, since the mid 19th century, so basically from 1850s itself, there has been continuous reorganization of states and territories in India. This is what they're asking you with examples. So you have to quote specific examples of how the states have been divided. Now, there are multiple ways in which you can answer this. One way is you can give a point-wise description of important events of reorganization since 1950s itself. So right after the first War of Independence, the first ever mutiny, after that you can give a chronological order of what happened. Second way to do this is you can divide it into different phases. Now, one way you can do this is phase 1, that can be, let's say, 1857 to 1947. So under the British, how the reorganization of the territories happened, and second can be a phase post our independence or post 1947. This is one other way to do this. Then there's a third way to do this. You can divide this into multiple phases, not just two, more than two. You can divide this into multiple phases. This is what we have done in this answer. So what we have done is we have divided this into multiple phases, 3-4 phases, and we have discussed the important reorganization that have happened during those phases. So let's see how to answer this. First, we'll write the introduction. Now in the introduction, there is nothing like a definition in history-based question. There is nothing that you can define. So you can just give a fact about this idea of reorganization. Prior to 1850s, India mainly was divided into self-ruling states, which were under the British East India Company's policies. However, after 1857 revolt, a reorganization took place mainly under the British Crown, and they directly handled these organizations. Now, this is how you can write the intro. Again, in history questions, there is no definition that you can write. Definition-based intros are mainly for polity, economics, science, environment also. But in history, you have to go ahead with a fact-based intro only because you don't really have anything that you can define here or you can give a definition of. Now, as I told you in the main body, we have divided this entire reorganization journey into different phases. First phase till 1935. You have tried a couple of lines at least in each of the phases. What happened? So, non-interference of the British, no new territories were annexed or occupied because the British had learned their lesson after the 1857 revolt. Bengal was divided on communal lines, so the capital was shifted to Delhi. Next phase till independence after Government of India Act of 1935. This was a time when the British tried to divide Indian territory into different groupings. They organized the Indian states into A, B, C categories for administrative convenience to make sure that they were able to handle different states with different types of laws and policies. Next phase after independence till 1956, This was a time when we had our first reorganization of states after independence. As you know, initially after independence, we had grouped A, B, C, and D states, divided into different categories. It was a continuation of what the British had done. It was states mainly divided on the basis of their administration, some that were controlled by the British earlier, some that were under the rule of princely states, some that were considered as union territories, and then Andaman Nicobar. Then there was a reorganization done under the recommendation of the Fazl Ali Committee, where new 14 states were created. Then came an era where we had multiple demands of states, led to creation of new states on the basis of language and on basis of other demands. For example, we had Maharashtra, Gujarat being created out of Bombay. On language lines, we also had Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh created. Then there were other parts of territory that were acquired by India that became Indians, Sikkim and Goa. Then in northeast part of India, out of Assam, many new states were carved out time and time again. Post 2000 was an era where 3 states were carved out in 2000 and then Telangana was carved out in 2014. So we had Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. Then we had Telangana coming out in 2014, and then the statehood of Jammu Kashmir was changed. It was reorganized into Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh. These are the different phases. Again, as I told you, there is no one single way to answer such questions. You can divide this into 2 phases, 3 phases, 4 phases. You may also not divide it into any phase, just write one single chronological order. Ideally, it's good to define it into different phases, because what happens is, as an examiner, when I'm checking the copy, it gives me good context, a better context to understand what you're writing. If you're not giving any subheadings in the main body, it becomes slightly difficult and slightly boring for me to check your answer. As an examiner, I would want certain subheadings so that I know where a division ends and where the new category starts when you're writing the answer. Then we write the conclusion part about how our constitution allows this reorganization of states and union territories. It's a continuous process, and the process is given under Article 3, which has been used by different governments for dividing states and territories as per administrative and political convenience. So this is how we can write this particular answer. I hope this clarifies any doubt that you might have regarding dealing with this kind of a question. Here is your homework for today. India's economic development is closely tied to its export performance. Analyze the key obstacles that have hindered India's export growth in the recent years. Try and write this in about 200 words. If you want, I'll be happy to evaluate that. You can send these answers on this email ID in case you have any other doubt or interest in any of the other courses that I'm running. For example, the essay booklet that I have launched with 101 model essays, the answer writing program, or the PSIR comprehensive course. If you have any doubts about that, do let me know while writing to this email ID. Thank you so much for joining in. Do hit the subscribe button if you have not done so far. I'll see you in the next one very soon. Till then, bye-bye. Jai Hind.